What's up, guys? We got another good podcast today. We got Kevin Swango with KS Outdoor Lighting. Welcome to the Addicted to Success podcast, where we talk about success in all forms: small business, motivation, personal development, inspiration, and overcoming obstacles and adversity like a fucking pro. All right, let's jump right into it. Now, what got you into a business? What experience did you have with like lighting or business before? But what really got you into being an entrepreneur?
Sure, that's a great question. I came from a wire and cable company. Worked for over 10 years doing their marketing. So I knew wire and cable, I knew marketing, I knew graphic design. And I thought to myself, why am I making a big corporation lots of money? It just kind of drove me crazy, little things that I wanted to do, I couldn't do. Things I wanted to post, I couldn't post, or I was told not to post it. So I said, you know what, heck with this. I'm going to start my own business. And I launched KS Outdoor Lighting in the spring of 2019.
I couldn't imagine having a marketing and graphics design background, because that was one of my biggest hurdles to overcome. Like, I understood how to do the work in my landscaping business. I didn't really understand business, but I sure didn't understand marketing. I just got to the point where I put on marketing stuff for 8 hours a day, and it just sounded like Spanish. And then one day it started clicking. So did you feel like, I know guys, when they first get started, they have trouble looking for work, finding work. Was it kind of an easier thing for you to get started with?
As far as the marketing was concerned?
Exactly. Getting the phone to ring.
Yeah. That was the biggest, test and tribulation. I started actually with my house. I researched some products. I knew the cable side, but I didn't really, understand the fixture side. And that's a whole nother animal altogether. So I went on to the Amazons. I started ordering lights. I started researching transformers, and I started pairing stuff together. And little by little, I started incorporating. Are we good? Okay. I started, lighting up my house, and I had neighbors come across the street, people I've never met in my whole entire life, knocking on my door, asking who did my lights. I knew I was kind of onto something. So what I did was started posting onto my Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a valuable app if you're just starting out. And, next thing you know, I started getting some calls. People were interested. Hey, who did your lights? And that's kind of how my marketing started, just for the grassroots effort with Nextdoor. Got my first gig, got my first client. They were happy. Their neighbors were happy because they came over and asked for a card. Started doing their houses, started posting on Facebook. My second big client was actually my dad, who lives down in Florida. Got a beautiful house, palm trees in the front. He's like, hey, Kevin, I'll fly you on down, go ahead and light up my house. And this is the infancy. This is so bare bones. I'm just starting off, so I'm just trying to get as much traction, as much knowledge as possible. And that's what I did. I lit their, front-sided house in Florida, beautiful palm trees in the front yard, 3-car garage, just a gorgeous thing. And I asked my dad, I was like, hey, do you mind if I, share this on social media? And he's like, be my guest. And, more and more, you post often, post regularly, you'll get the traction. If it's something you want to do and you want to acquire and desire to be, you will get that traction. I promise you.
Well, when it comes to posting and on your social, proofing on your websites and your social medias, it's important. And the way I like to think about it is putting yourself in a customer's shoes. So most people have never hired a lighting guy, or most people has never hired a landscaping guy or a pressure washing guy, so when they're doing something that's going to change their house or the way it's going to look, it's going to be a big financial investment. You don't know whether they might get into an argument, husband-wife argument, if she gets the bad landscaper or gets the bad job or spends too much money, so that information and having that online gives them that social proofing and shows them that, A, you do a good job. It displays what work that you do, doo-doo. And then it also gives them kind of something to show, like, okay, I do like this, I don't like this. And it just lets them know that you're a real deal in the market.
Indeed. Yeah. Social proof is huge. And if you look at who's making the decisions, usually the husband will reach out to me first and be like, hey, me and my wife, want to get some lighting done on our house. But ultimately, 9 times out of 10, it's the wife making the decision. It's the wife making the decision on their landscape lighting, on their house color, and their interior color. You hear it time and time again. Let me check with my boss lady, to get the approval. And there's certain arenas that I'm trying to tap into, and I'm trying to get my wife involved in it too, because there's so much value of a female talking to another female and getting that decision. A lot of times, men come across too this or to that, come across too abrasive. They don't have that feeling or that tone, or it could be a million different things. So that's going to be my next arena, is to kind of tap in and say, hey, my wife's name is Anna. Anna, do you mind, posting this and just having a female voice in this? Because it's another arena that we can tap into, and it'll give more confidence, for the do-it-yourselfer, or do it for the customer rather.
A major turning point in my business career was when I realized, so when I was doing all my graphic designs and my marketing stuff, just like every other lawn guy, picture of a mower and a guy on it and some grass. Yeah. And that wasn't what I needed to do. When I switched over and started having nicer colors, really marketing towards women, because like you said, women are the ones calling the shots. It's the same thing with landscaping. I'm going to get the call from the guy or the lady. The initial meetup, he's going to size me up, see if I look like I'm going to do his wife wrong and them wrong. Once he realizes that, he's just going to tell me, okay, just make her happy. Here's the budget. And then he's going to step out of his way. So when you're marketing and trying to get your service business, it's better to realize who you're actually marketing to. If in lawn care and landscaping, guys, they only care about green grass and black edges around everything. The women are the ones with the color and the landscape lighting and the, sprucing it up. So if you're in landscape lighting, or if you're in landscaping, or if you're in power washing to clean houses, I would definitely start gearing a lot of my marketing towards women. And the idea you have about having a woman to do your consultations and sell work, I think that would bring the energy level like so down, or just so level, that it would actually, I think, would help you close more jobs. So I think that's something I would definitely implement. And also, women, they have the eye better, I think, for a lot of like colorful and what other women like. They for sure have the eye for what other women like. So, well, that's awesome. Is she a big role in your business, or does she have anything to do with your business?
She's kind of hands off unless I ask her a specific, question about it. Which is good and bad. A lot of times I'll come back from, doing a final video shoot or photo shoot that evening. And, she's very anxious to see, what the final, outcome came. So I'll be, we'll be sitting in bed and be like, hey, check out this photo or check out this video. And she's, very, very supportive on that, which, I'm grateful for.
That's so awesome. I talk to so many business owners that do not have that. I went through some things myself where the significant other was actually jealous of the business and the money being spent on the business. So I can only imagine how nice that is to have a supporting partner and someone that you can talk to about the little victories and the big victories.
Yeah, she's always supported me. In the beginning, it was a little shaky just because you go from a paycheck to, okay, when is your next job? When is the next consultation? When is the next site visit? It's not a steady type of, outcome. Whereas if you're working corporate America every week or every 2 weeks or once a month, you get paid. So, you can financially plan for that kind of stuff. When you have your own business, it's something totally different. You have taxes, you have, payroll. If you have more people on board, obviously you have liability insurances. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, there's the trials and tribulations of working your way through a marriage, it has to make sense. It has to make sense for you. It has to make sense for your partner. But
yeah. Oh, I get it. I don't think I could run like a business with a significant other. I don't know, like especially like a very interactive business, maybe something more, set off that runs itself. But I don't know. Maybe I just wouldn't do it well, but that would be an awesome thing to have, I believe. I just, hadn't really had it. But so with all this business, why are you doing this? Why are you taking the gamble to start a business? Why are you investing all this time? Like, what is your why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the why. It's the love of the practice. It's the love of working with other people in the community. It's the love of going out and talking to your neighbor, getting on a different level with them, giving them not only, safety, on their house, illuminating, but you got, beautiful curb appeal, all these things that are kind of, escalating their value in their home. When you come home at night to a dark house, and then when you come home to a fully illuminated house, it gives you that sense of warmth and value, emotionally, physically, all that. So that's kind of like my why is, just helping other people out in the community. It's amazing. I'll go to Kroger, I'll go to the grocery store or another store, and people will flag me down and they're like, "You're the guy, you're the lighting guy. I know you. I've seen your posts." It's a little sense of like, humbleness, a little bit of celebrity. I mean, this guy right here is number one celebrity. I mean, when we cross paths, it's still a dream come true that I'm sitting down right here in my, backyard deck, talking to this genius ninja here. So, it's just about building relationships, staying humble, just knowing that, there's so much out there more than just yourself. And if you can help other people while making a little bit of money, why not?
Exactly. And it's funny you say this. Social media is so funny. I was just like a Facebooker. And then I started learning about social media for the business. Then I started learning about social media for an influencer. And it's just crazy the people you can meet. And I feel that not everyone in my circle in my hometown is into the things that I'm into, but in these Facebook groups and in these social media communities, there's other people who are doing and trying and believing and supporting what you're doing. I don't know if you came up with a bunch of negative when you told people you were starting a business, but when I talk to a non-entrepreneur, especially not now, but when I first was going to start my business, I thought people were going to be so excited for me. And I was met with so much negativity. Well, you know how many people are pulling a trailer and 9 out of 10 businesses fail. It was just like, what if I would have gave up on my dream because of what you just told me? So with social media, I find the other like-minded people. And instead of telling me I'm stupid, they're like, "That's ingenious. How'd you think of this?" So I love the way the bringing together of the similar minds of the social media.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. I don't know anything about lawn care in the form of a commercial job or a residential job. Yeah. I've pushed my own mower in my own yard and stuff, but I don't know what it takes to build a retaining wall, to excavate land, use an excavator. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. But you know what? When you contact somebody that does, and you have the passion for somebody that does, you can learn a lot. To add to the point, social media has come a long ways. A lot of people view it as like, a bad thing. It can be used as a good thing. It's just nothing but another tool, and a tool that's being used right can be very, very effective. You're on the right path when you start getting some trolls on your page, when people are kind of downplaying you or, why are you using that product or why are you using this? You know what? A lot of people are out there to help you, but there's also the trolls that will tear you down. So you have to kind of be mentally and physically, capable of getting past that and using your own mindset and keeping your own straight, your path, if you will.
I started making little short 2-minute videos of projects that we did, because one of my little tricks that I use local Facebook groups, and they allow you to post in Tuesday or Thursday. And so everybody else was doing before and after pictures or just their business card. And I was like, no. So I started making these videos of just showing people the process, before, the after, the middle, so they knew what was going on. It was a great selling thing. It showed them the process, how much work, what machines, like it was everything all in 2 minutes. It was so great. So I started posting in these groups, and everybody else didn't want to do that, but they also didn't want to compete with me either. They hated the fact that I was doing it, but they didn't want to do it themselves to compete with me. So and then those videos, I was building relationships. I can make a video. I make videos all the time, and I build relationships over videos. And it's so crazy to wrap your head around that. But especially like in my local service area with people that I'm marketing to for my business, like they'll come up to me and they know me. And like I used to slap the camera, and people would come up. Oh, at first I was like, why are you slapping at me? And it was like, your videos, they've been through, all of your videos, and then they're nervous about, hiring a landscaper. But look at this guy. Like he's having fun doing these big cleanups. I mean, I've become more approachable. I wasn't the big landscape company that was going to come in and take advantage of you. Oh, that's just Matt, man. He makes those little videos, does all that great work and shows everybody. Got known like that. It did have its problems with my competition, but it definitely helped me develop and stand out where everybody's screaming, pick me. The videos helped me scream louder and get them to know me before I ever walked up. It was almost, sometimes I'd be walking up to a consultation and it was like they knew me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like a mini celebrity.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have a target on you, and that target can be a good target or a bad target. You see a lot of TikTokers, and you see a lot of people on social media. They may comment on your stuff, but then when you go to their page, they don't have any videos, they don't have any content. And then you're sitting there scratching yourself like, okay, I'm producing, at least a video a day, maybe 2 a day, getting that traction, getting that video, putting yourself out there. That's the target. And, that target can either attract or it can repel. So, in the case, of the Ninja here, when customers see you and they vibrate and you vibrate on a certain level, you're going to get that attraction. They're going to want to do business with you because of that.
Exactly. And then the more honest and genuine you can be really helps out too. I know with the Lawn Ninja on social media, I just wanted to show like the highlight reel like everybody else. I didn't want to tell nobody about me having to go through this landscape. I was embarrassed that I was having to do an apprenticeship to get a license that was going to propel me further than I've ever been. But I was embarrassed by that because I was kind of doing an apprenticeship and running my own business. And, my past with my trouble and drug addiction and stuff like that, like I never wanted to bring that up because those were like scars I didn't like to show. But what I have found is the more I embrace them, the more real I am, the more people resonate with me and they're like, whoa. People are like, if this guy can do it with his past, if this guy can do this with his past, so what I'm saying is that the more genuine you can be and let people in, that's what the social media is about, what I'm learning. It's the being the realest you can. And when you can tap in with those emotions, that's when I really started gaining followers. That's when people really started tagging me. That's when when I started developing a fan base is when I started giving them my true story, what was really going on, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
100%. I mean, I'm truly inspired by this and humbled by this. And it's something that I aspire to be. I want to go out there now and I want to, interview other people. And it's about learning. It's about growing. It's about building relationships and just harvesting those relationships. I guarantee it's not going to end today. this is going to be something that kind of grows in the future. And, I'm going to call up the Ninja and be like, man, remember when we did that, podcast, a year ago? I mean, my channel is blown up now. I'm not expecting that, but it's a humbling feeling knowing that, hey, there's somebody out there that can value your work and then sees you every single day, and they see that you're trying and you're doing the best you can. And that's all you can ask of yourself. Did you try hard today? Are you making it work? Are you putting in the effort?
Well, that's why I'm doing it with these I thought about a lot of different ways, but like I wanted to go talk to the guys that were in the trenches. I wanted to go talk to the guys that were on the uphill climb of building a business, not the guys that have made it. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy talking to them too, but that's not like, I believe the most value comes from talking to guys like you, guys that are like, you were talking about Nextdoor. I'm like, mental note. I've heard Nextdoor 3 times in the past 2 weeks now from people I've interviewed. That's on my checklist now. Like, I need to go check out Nextdoor. That's something that I'm not doing, just learning from other people because we all provide a service with these service businesses. You get a phone call, you schedule a consultation, you close a job or don't close a job, you schedule the work, you perform the work, and then you get paid. That is a service business, and we all do it. It don't matter if we're a concrete guy, if we're a lighting guy, or if we're a landscaper. We're in the service business. So tips and tricks that might cross over that you tell me from the lighting industry, I might be able to apply in my industry. And then it's just the exchanging of knowledge. Tony Robbins talks about when you read books and podcasts and stuff like that, you can condense decades into days. So you can learn. That's why I like reading audiobooks and stuff, but you can learn, like someone's whole life experience, something that took them 10 plus years to learn and grasp, and then you can learn it in a matter of days. So
That's right. I had a potential customer reach out to me the other day, and they said, Kevin, I like your work. I've been to your website. Amazing stuff. How do I know that you're actually going to come and do the work? How do I know that if I give you a check or if I give you a job or payment of $2,500 that you're just not going to take off with it? And I said, I paused. I said to my customer, I said, my reputation is way more important than $2,500. If I go out and you give me $2,500 and I don't show up at your job site, you would slander me, you would trash me. My reputation, KS Outdoor Lighting, would be tarnished, would be trashed. I wouldn't get another job here in Douglasville, let alone West Georgia or Atlanta. I mean, and she paused for a moment and she's like, you're absolutely right. It makes sense. And everything you do needs to make sense. It has to be a good vibration. It has to make sense to you. It has to make sense to the customer. If you pull up to a property and you just kind of know if you're going to do work with this person, there's just that certain energy level, whether it comes from the actual physical place, you just know how they take care of their yard if you're going to be the right fit. And don't let the customer, feel like you have to fit with them. They have to fit with you.
Preach.
So many times. I mean, I get that all the time. If a client demands stuff of you, politely kind of position yourself to not work with them. But I don't know. I'm sure Ninja can talk about that, even more. But just feel like you are in control of what you position yourself in your life. Don't let other people demand things of you and put you in a position where it's a negative vibe or a negative energy.
When you start a business and you're starting, you're hungry, you want any jobs, you're underbidding, you're just wanting. But a major turning point in my business career was when I realized sometimes it's better for me to say no. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's better for me to realize this client isn't going to be a good client because I have ignored that feeling, went through with the job, and then it turned into the negative experience that I knew it was going to be. So I knew I started to kind of make it and started to understand things when I realized every dollar wasn't a good dollar, and I could start, seeing, okay, this customer, they're probably not going to be a good one, because, you got to learn how to not only fix problems, but prevent them.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is so unfair from being a business owner is every mistake costs you money, and the bigger the mistake, the more money it costs you. So it helps to prevent those problems. And also, you've got to like you were talking about with your customer, not doing them wrong. Like, there's an unfair, I don't know how to say it, but there's an unfairness that we have Google reviews. We have social presences.
Mm-hmm.
We have that one bad Google review saying that I ran off with $2,500 could cost you, over the span of 10 years, $25,000 or $250,000, or, that one review could cost you so much money. I told people I would rather just not get paid from the job because I feel than get a bad review. Just here, keep your money if you stay happy, because I believe that a $2,500 bad review would cost 10 to 100 times more of that in future revenue.
Indeed.
And so we're working a lot. I come in, obviously got a nice family, son. How do you keep the balance, especially in the beginning? Because as a father, my job was to provide and to grow this business, and that's what I was focused on, and that's what I'm going to do, and nothing's going to stop us. But, my family didn't need me too. And I was growing the financial as the provider, but I was giving them less of me, which that's more of what they needed. So your work-life balance, like, how are you doing? What's some tips and tricks you have for that?
Structure. You got to keep a structure. You gotta have a plan. You got to stay within those parameters, and, don't deviate from them. If the weekends are important for you, don't work weekends. Keep that sacred time for your family. Because right now I have a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they are the lifeline of myself and my wife, and they are growing up so quickly. So if you don't set parameters and set structure, everything else is going to get out of balance. So I'm the sole person taking them to school. I'm the one that picks them up. My wife's a teacher, so she has to be at school at a certain time, and then she leaves at a certain time. So I've kind of, I'm not saying but we've kind of worked it out where I'm the person driving them to school. I'm the one picking them up, but it gives me a good outlet for structure from this period of time of 8:30 in the morning till about 2:00 in the afternoon. I can focus on lighting. And then once the wife gets home later on that afternoon, I can go back out and tend to whatever I need to, site visits or finishing up on a project. So it's all about balance and harmony, and, setting realistic goals and expectations, and really just communicating with, your partner, with your customer. That's really, really important. I know personally, a week prior to an install, I'll text them and say, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you're all scheduled for next week. Everything is still on plan. I will see you then." The night of, I'll send them another text and say, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs., looking forward to, installing, your lights tomorrow morning. I will be there at 8 a.m. And guess what? What time I'm there? At 8 a.m. If a customer ever has any questions, try to answer them in a timely manner. Just try to be respectful of your time, but also answer the questions, and just kind of, set yourself to a good schedule.
People ask me all the time, how do I charge more for my service? How do I get more for doing the same thing? And my answer all the time is customer service.
Yeah.
That's what they're not paying you extra and that high value tickets for because you can weed eat a yard, or you can twist some wires and light them up right. It's when you get into the higher value and getting paid more for in your field, it's the customer service that they're buying that most people don't really realize, because it's easy to get busy. It's easy to, I'll call them back, but then it makes them feel that they're not as important. I know when I got extremely busy last year, had 7 guys and a secretary. Like, the reason I got the secretary was because I realized that my customer service was going down. I was on big job sites and I was trying to cram these things out. So I wasn't answering phone calls. And then they were going to the next one on Google. And then by the time I called them back, they were like, oh, we got somebody who answered the phone. They literally would tell me that. And it was like, whew, that hurt. That kicked me in the guts. So that customer service is what is really going to help you. And people, they have so many options with the internet these days. If you're not going to have customer service, if you're not going to answer the phone and be lazy with it, there's somebody out there who will. There's somebody out there that'll come do that quote after the job site today. So, I mean, I've heard people say, you got to act like someone's taking your business away from you with not only your hustle, but with your customer service.
Ninja said it perfect. It is all about customer service. And I personally have picked up the phone and called several different contractors or people trying to get different quotes on my own property. And sometimes they'll get back to you. Sometimes they won't. Most of the time you have to reach back out to them again, either text them again or call them again. I've built in my model of my business. If you text me, I will respond back to you. If you call me, I may be up on a 30-foot ladder doing an installation, but I will do the best I can to get back to you as soon as I can. Now, I am a small business and I can't, at this period of time, I don't have the capabilities of having a personal secretary or a virtual secretary. That's something that I want on my, goal list. That's something that I strive to have. But it's something that you have to take seriously, and it will separate you from the competition. Getting back to the customer ASAP and treating them with respect. If you don't know something, tell them that you don't know, but you will get that knowledge for them. They're not looking for you to be perfect, but they are looking to hire your service because they have a problem. And
yeah, like I tell people all the time, like I'm a problems. I give solutions to problems. I fix things. What do you need? You need something moved, trailers, this. Yeah, I fix problems. And that's what people are wanting at the end of the day. So, like, what if there was one thing that almost made you say, you know what, I'm just not cut out for this? What was something that just made you go back, almost want to go back and get a job? And then explain to me what happened after you didn't, and the growth of realizing that this major event didn't break you and that you actually lived through it.
And failure. You are going to fail so many times in a position. It's how you pick yourself up and dust yourself off and do it again and owning it. There's not many times that, you'll fail at something and then keep failing and keep failing. And lesson, what was it? Lesson repeated
itself until lesson learned.
Until lesson learned, sure. If you don't get that in your head, as a business owner or a worker or anybody, you could be at Wendy's flipping burgers. Lesson repeated until lesson learned. I mean, that's my best advice.
Exactly. And just knowing that there's going to be problems, and the more problems that I overcome, it gives me more confidence to take on bigger problems. So what separates me from a lot of other people that I've talked to who aren't entrepreneurs is they focus on why they shouldn't do something or the problems that they're going to face into. I know there's going to be problems. I know that I'm going to lose some money in some ventures. I know there's going to be a problem, but I know the growth and what I'm going to do after that is what they're going to talk about. It's what's going to make me. So yes, those failures, I call them my L's. Those are my L's. Nobody's got to worry about my losses. I take those, and I take those with such a pride. And if I'm going to lose in anything or any endeavor that I do, I make sure that I win by learning from it and making sure that I don't make that mistake. Like you said, lesson will repeat itself until lesson learned. So what, So where do you see yourself? What are you trying to do in the next couple of years? What's some realistic goals that you can look in 2 years back to this podcast and say, I did that and I did more? What would be some goals for you for the next 2 years?
Sure. Great question. I think the number one goal that I want to try to learn in my materials business is core drilling. Not a lot of people are core drilling, which basically is a big drill. It can bore into concrete, into stone, and you can actually put the fixture actually into the concrete, into the stone. And like I said, not a lot of people are doing it. It's a high risk, big reward type of venture. You better know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to put lots of cracks in driveways. So it's something I have several of my, colleague friends who are either in the business of doing it, or they want to go in and learn the whole project. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if it's going to be a 2022 thing. It might be an early spring of 2023, but that's something I want to keep on one of my goals. One of my other goals is to hire in somebody that's going to do kind of like what I'm doing in the business. Since I'm the owner, I'm the doer, I'm the facilitator, I'm everything. I want to try to find another person like me that can come in and help out. Now, it may not be across the board. Maybe they come in and do, more of the consultation. Maybe they do, I haven't thought that through yet. But it's something I want to add another piece to KS Outdoor Lighting. I have paired with a landscaper here in the area, and they've been amazing. They're part-time firefighters, but they also own and operate a lawn care business as well. So they come, and when I have a bigger job, they can dig my ditches. They have the trailers to haul the equipment to do the ditch digging, and they've just been phenomenal. Me, I'm 150 pounds soaking wet, so I can't technically lift a 300-pound ladder up either. So these guys, they'll come out and they'll position the ladder for me. They know the right angle because they're firemen. They know how to get it up there and structured, the proper way of handling everything. So they've just been amazing. I don't know where I would be without them. And it's something that, I don't need them full time, but when I do need them, I can give them a call and they're more than happy to come out and help. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for somebody that, that I can pair up with, that I can teach them, the skills and the tricks of the trade, how to wire connection properly, how to size a transformer properly, that kind of thing. Part of what I do as a landscape lighting designer, I look at the design aspect of it first, where you could hire any Joe Bob in the county and, electrician, and they can come out and wire something for you. But how I look at it is I want it to be designed first and then lit second, so to speak. So I try to relate it this way to my customers. When you're, at the theater, you're watching a play, you're watching something where you're sitting in the audience, and all the stage lighting is directed onto the performers. That's kind of how I look at lighting design. I don't want to have light shooting in the audience where people are doing this and they're kind of getting, hot spots on them. I look at it as design first, where, the home, is, illuminates in a way where it's very, very attractive and it's very appealing. So that's kind of like how I kind of base my projects, but.
Well, the same thing with irrigation. You have to design it first. You got to say, okay, I need these heads here, all these plants, all this grass. You put out your heads first, and then you say, okay, how do I zone this out? And you go from there. So you put it's the same thing with irrigation on the same way. But well, man, it has been awesome. Before we get off this podcast, can you tell everybody where to find your business and your if you have personal social medias?
Sure. My name is Kevin Swango, and I am in Douglasville, Georgia. I maintain the West Georgia area. I sometimes dabble in Atlanta, but you can find me through my website, which is www.ksoutdoorlighting.us. From there, I have tons of links to my Instagram, to my Facebook, to LinkedIn, to TikTok. Yeah, I try to hit all the major, social platforms. So you can certainly, link me up there. This guy's been amazing. I'm so humbled to have this opportunity to sit down and chat. And, if anyone has any questions in the future, reach out to Ninja, reach out to KS Outdoor Lighting. We'd be more than happy to help you out. I know he's based out of Mississippi. I'm here in Georgia. It's a beautiful early fall day. I want it to be fall. Is it fall yet?
No.
It's still hot, but man, just blessings to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, man, it's been great. You were the one that's going to push me over to go. Like, I'm fixing to, on the way home, I'm fixing to put in Nextdoor on YouTube and listen to whatever they got to say, how to set it up, because that's what I picked up from you. We were talking about some things, and you're the third guy that said that about Nextdoor. But I'm loving that. I'm loving talking to different people and seeing, I'm like, okay, well, this is obviously something I'm not doing, but it's just all about collabing and helping others. But
marketing is number one, and it's all about trying stuff. You know what? I could blast something on Nextdoor and have a good retention rate. Someone else could do the same thing and not get as much. So, measure everything, use some SEO, get a Google My Business page. I know that's kind of feathering out to Google Maps, but it's so important to get reviews. Ask the customers every time you talk to them on the phone, how did you hear about me? And then vet them on the phone. Don't go traveling all across the county, all across the state, all across the region, just in hopes that, you're going to get the job. Vet them, ask the tough questions. They're going to ask you tough questions. Be prepared to answer those questions. And, best of luck to you and your service.
yeah, y'all stay classy.